Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. Today I'm going to be bringing you an excellent game on Gap of Rohan, the only place where the pros collect. And of course today we've got some average Joes down there in the little bit lower rankings, but this map just brings out the absolute best in play. You've got that choke point in the center, which means that you can boil down the game to the essence of economy. And we all know that that's what Supreme Commander is all about. Let's go ahead and introduce the teams, and then we will dive right into the lack of action. Bobcraft is on the north side on the right-hand team. He is going Aeon. We've got Athena's cap. I'm not sure why Athena is wearing a cap, but apparently she is. Going UEF, we've got Circassi 2. Not the primary, of course, it is the secondary since we've got a 900 rank. He's also going UEF. Then we've got UEF for Bearman. Nothing wrong with that. Good, strong name. Heading back to the Hydro for his build. We've got Cornhulius. He is Aeon on the left-hand team. On the south side, Cyberin, the faction of choice for Dionysus, maybe? Apparently we have a couple of the Elder Gods with us today. We've got Lancer Mofo is going Cyberin in the other center position for the left side team. And finally, Grobar, Aeon in the north slot, as would be appropriate since that is an air slot. We've got 3 Aeons and 1 UEF in the airs, and then Cyberin for the left and UEF for the right in the mid slot. So, a bit of asymmetrical faction action and not a Seraphim in sight. So I guess we can kick the alien scum to the curb and not even worry about them. So, the primary tactic on Gap, the thing that you need to be most worried about at the beginning of the game, is building that land factory and getting the hell out of your base as soon as you possibly can. Because the quicker you get to the middle, the quicker you can suck up all of this wonderful yummy mass. You can see right there, going to get some values on those. There's already a bunch of manual reclaim orders laid out so that these guys can start getting that mass in their bank accounts and spending it back home. Sadly, there is not going to be a 3-on-2. That usually brings a little bit of fun to the table when you can get a good old double team going on in the center and kill one of those commanders early. North versus 1200, I think, yes, that would be a little bit unfair because it is a 700 versus a 1200, but I'm sure that nothing bad could possibly happen in that kind of circumstance. Looks like we got a couple of early raiding units headed across. He is halting at the idea of the walls. The walls are not built yet, but they are still keeping those flares out of the base. So good on... Oh, wait. That is actually Bobcraft, who has walled himself in. We're going to have to see how that turns out for him. Dionysus sucking up the last rock there. Let's kind of take a peek and see who got what mass. We've got Athena's. He is at 2200. We've got Circassi at 17. So that is about 4K mass for the right-hand team. On the left-hand side, we have 500 and 2700. So the right-hand team definitely coming out ahead on that one. Mass Extractor getting capped off there. Lancer's going to have to step back just a little bit. Dionysus picking up the other Mass Extractor here. So we have a bit of symmetricality going on in the center. 2 mexes for each team on opposing sides. Alright, let's see what's going on down here. Looks like that is a bomber building. 3 air factories going down for Cornhulius. He is taking his air job seriously, and I'm glad that he is, because the worst thing that you can have is an air player not building air. Looks like we got the same kind of thing going on down here for Bearman. He has got 3 air factories, one of them building engineers. Just a little kindly tip, you don't want to build engineers on the Cyberin or UEF air factories. The roll-off has been patched in somewhat in recent days, but the engineer roll-off is still ever so slightly slower for UEF and significantly slower for Cyberin on the air factory. So you want to drop those land factories and build engineers from those. Lancer Mofo backing up. He was about to try to get in just a little bit. Plink a little damage on that commander, I guess. But he is going to have to retreat. A couple of fearsome mech marines backing up that commander, and you don't want to have any of that. Grobar up on the north side already dropped 4 T2 mexes. He's working on 2 more, and he's got 2 air factories. One of those is going for T2. The Seraphim and Aeon air factories have the same roll-off as land factories as far as engineers are concerned, and it's pretty much tit for tat. You spend a little bit more mass, a little bit less power with the land factory, and you spend a little more power, a little less mass building an air factory. So it just kind of depends on what you want to fit in your early build and what you want to be doing early. Lancer Mofo using the brilliant assist feature on those mantises. There's snag and upgrade. I'm not sure what that upgrade is because he does not have notify on. Bad person. Why you no help casters? But that is T2, so he'll be able to build some Cerberus turrets and whatnot. Then we got some air units headed to the middle. That is a significant amount of bombers on the left-hand side. It just, how is this even happening? Bearman and Cornelius going step for step versus each other. They had about the same amount of interceptors until Bearman had his scattered across the map and then lost his main group. But they're both building T1 bombers en masse. They've both got the same amount of air factories. They're both spamming like all get out. I guess there is an earlier T2 factory over here, but it's just amazing how similar these two guys are. I guess since these guys are both Gap pros, this is a refined build order and we should definitely all copy exactly what they're doing. Bombers incoming. Is that a Shift G attack? I cannot actually see. It does not look like it. They are all going to drop on the T2 P-Gen. Very nearly dropping it to half health and then all immediately dying to the interceptors flying in to save the day. Sadly, those interceptors were not well placed, so they were not able to defend the bombers. And now they're just kind of loop around and see. Nope, never mind. I am looking at the wrong team color. My bad. Well done, Bobcraft, saving your teammates. Unfortunately, Mexes are still going to die to some T1 tanks. Bombers from red coming in, so good teamwork on this side. Wow, I completely bungled the team colors on that one. I'm sure that people were screaming at their monitors as I was saying such things. Well, looky there. Lancer Mofo building a TAC launcher. Now, this is a departure from the standard Gap operation. This is a master tactician at work, and he is going to ping away at some of these T2 mexes that are on the other side of the map as the camera zooms wildly to attempt to compensate for the mountains. Cool thing about the Cyber Attack Missile Launcher, it can only hold 4. It is 4-barreled though, so they can launch very close to simultaneously. Very incredibly fast firing rate. You don't have any of that gap where the other player has time to rebuild and build TMD in between your attack missiles. The TMD was quick incoming though, and I don't think he's going to lose any more T2s. Of course, if you lose the intact missile, if you have a split of the missile, or if you lose any of the little children that branch from that, you're decreasing in damage potential. So from that first split, you're not going to be able to kill a T2 mass extractor in one shot. Beautiful run in here. T1 units. Who'da thunk it? Somebody actually spammed some tanks that is going to come in handy. Cerberus turrets going down in an attempt to defend. I think that T1 point defense probably would have been a better option right there because Cerberus turrets have a longer build time and they do slightly less damage than the T1 point defense. The only advantage you get is range, and if the units are already in your base, of course, that extra range really doesn't do you any good. There's a couple of pillars in the mix. Lancer is actually very lucky that he got out to the side because that may potentially have been enough to kill him, but now there's a couple of T1 point defense down right here. He is no longer in danger, and T2 gunships from his teammates are going to clean up the rest of the units. So again, very nice teamwork, exceptionally nice teamwork from all of these guys, but not very good placement of the inties. Bobcraft definitely could have knocked all of those sons of guns out if he would have but brought his air. Now, the patrol order, I think, is probably not the greatest idea. As you can see, almost all of these interceptors are low fuel or out of fuel. That means that they cannot get around the map very well. It's more like staggering around like a drunken 80-year-old rather than being a nimble and quick basketball player pouncing upon its prey. I'm not sure exactly why that image jumped into mind, but there you go. Something to think about as you're moving on in your day. And yeah, they are going to do the job, thankfully, once they got into position, and also with the help of some red interceptors with, holy cow, that is a lot of build power. Look at those planes fly out of the factory. That is excellent. Red just single-handedly overtaking the entire opposing team's air production with his massive swarm of interceptors. That is a beautiful sight to behold. More T2 tanks pouring through the middle from Circassi. He is just determined to overrun this position. They were able to kill the TAC defense before, but the T2 PGen is still alive, and it must die, I say. You must remove all potential for coming back from the enemy team. Cerberus turrets going down. Looks like that is, in fact, going to be a run by T1 bombers just streaming out of the factory, and that was a full health commander just a few minutes ago. 3,700. Oh no. Please. Please tell me it isn't so. Okay, good. There's Swift Winds. No, the Swift Winds are getting shot down. T1 bombers still getting through. 1,900 health. 1,600 health. 1,400 health. 800 health. Oh my goodness, the napalm is brutal. Why, Lancer? Why? Why couldn't you just dodge? Dionysus, I blame you. You didn't tell him to dodge earlier. He obviously needed this advice. He had a mental blank. Alright, so more T1 bombers still. Is this going to work again? Please tell me this isn't going to work again, because this is making me feel physical pain watching this happen. No, it does not appear that it is going to happen again. That is a T2 upgrade finishing into T3, immediately building a couple more T1 anti-air, and the situation is going to be resolved. Now, both players on the right-hand side have T3 air. There is a T3 air factory on the left, and it appears that, yes, an ASF is going to come out of the factory, but there is no build power assisting that. There were a couple of ASF over here, but they were shot down. Got a SAM up. That's going to get some damage in on those ASF that are foolhardy enough to run across to this base. T1 bombers still coming in for some blanket damage on those PD. T1 bombers definitely should not be making this much headway at 17 minutes into the game, but we're also seeing some Janus coming in, dissolving that shield under the lovely glow of napalm. Just brings a warm fire into your soul, right? More shielding going up. He decided he didn't want that shield. He wanted that shield first. Then, okay, there we go. Now we got multiple shields. But now there's units on the way in. Thankfully, there are some units to respond, though. We've got some T2 tanks, some blazes from the south side. Obviously, you don't want assault tanks in this, or you don't want mainline tanks in this situation, because you need speed to cross the vast distances you're dealing with on the Gap of Rohan. So you definitely need assault tanks that move way faster. You know, they have less damage and less HP per mass. They're way less efficient. But that speed totally makes up for it in a situation like this, where you have to guard an entire choke point from enemy intrusions. There's a loyalist out here. If it were me, I would be going with bricks, but, you know, with all these tanks backing you up, you can't possibly build a bad unit in this situation. All of those tanks going to go down. Green is running out of units, but he is still streaming them in, hoping that his rally point directly in front of the enemy base will gain him some ground. Sam's going up in front of red as well, just in case the overwhelming air superiority of his team is not enough to fend off any strat bombers, although I guess better safe than sorry is the name of the game. Grobar throwing down more T3 power generators and more support factories. Now, he's overflowing 5,000 power, but you can never have too much power. You always need to build more, scale it up next to your air production, and just make sure that you never ever stall, even if you're overflowing 2 T3 PGens worth of power. There's a Monkey Lord up in the middle. That could be really super useful at this point, because there's actually not any point defense on the other side of the map, which is very surprising to me. I would have thought that there would be Ravager creep by now. Athena's Cap is moving out towards the front a little bit and changing his move order. I don't know what he's doing. We shall wait a couple of moments to find out. The Monkey Lord is coming across. Let's see if that son of a gun is scouted. It is. It is indeed. Athena's Cap is immediately going to start building Ravagers. Ravagers will save the day. That's the good thing about a choke point. There's only one direction that the unit can be coming from, and you can definitely cover that with Ravagers. You might be thinking that, hey, I could send a Monkey Lord up and over the pass. I would heavily advise against it because I have tried this before, and the Monkey Lord got stuck in the pass. So, yeah, you gotta use the middle ground for all of your base intrusions. That is 6 Ravagers, and it looks like Athena's is going to move to the south. Maybe build some more. He's already got an Omni up, so he'll be able to see that Monkey Lord coming. Circassi is also building Ravagers like a madman, assisted by some drones, giving him that extra build power to get those things up before the Monkey Lord comes in. Now the question is, has the left side scouted anything? Do they know what's going on? They do know that there are some Ravagers here. No current scouting data on this location. No current scouting data on this location. And whoever has the radar in hand is power stalling. Down to 15,000 health. Well, better turn that Monkey Lord around and try to get it back to base. But the Ravager fire is going to be too much. 5,000 health, dwindling away to nothing, and that is a failure. Surprise being expressed from the left-hand team, because obviously 45,000 health is way too much to eat through with a dozen or so Ravagers. There is no way that that plan should have failed, but I guess a little bit of bad micro led to the demise of a good monkey. We've got a Megalith building in the center because that will be able to do a little bit more damage. No sarcasm at all in that statement in particular. Megalith does match range with Ravagers. So when you have Ravagers like this, it's a little bit more difficult for a Megalith to get an upper hand because it will come into range of basically all the Ravagers at one time, but you just get it as far as you can towards one edge and attack the Ravagers in a row, and your Megalith will vet up as it's killing them. You'll only be taking damage from one Ravager at a time. It might get one firing cycle completed before you kill it, unless there's a bunch of shielding over it, and your Megalith won't take too much damage. So that is a good way to eat through any defenses with a Mega. Definitely not as good as a Fat Boy for breaking a fire base, but it will do the job, especially considering the fact that it is a tanky son of a gun at 110,000 health. The highest health experimental. Alright, we got a Galactic Colossus coming down from the north. Bombcraft immediately expanding into donut territory. He's decided that they have a significant enough hold on air that he is going to get away with a donut. Is also building a rather impressive array of air factories in order to double down on his already impressive air production. So I think that we've got a pretty firm hold on the air game from this side, and this is exactly why you do not ever patrol your ASF on a map the size of Gap of Rohan, because your ASF slowly get pulled away one by one from their patrol, and they die over the enemy's base. And a tear comes to my eye as I think of all of the massive power that was just wasted, and now the favor is returned because Purples gets pulled over to that side, and I was about to say that the left side would gain an air advantage. They did, and then they threw it all away, tossed it on the ground, stomped on it with their heel, and they continue to do so, and now the right side is definitely back in control of the air. Well, that was a drastic flip-flop, and then a flip-floppity in return. So much action going on here. Alright, what's the game plan by these guys? We have got a Quantum Gateway online for Athena's Cap. What is he building? Probably, yes, Rambo comms. Alright, so, Rambo comms are on the way. That is oh no. No, please tell me no. Oh, Bobcraft getting out in the nick of time. That's a lot of attack missiles. Holy cow. Is this scouted? Please tell me this is scouted. Yes, it's scouted. Okay, so he knew it was there, and it hasn't been killed yet. Also, no TMD built yet. There has to be a logical reason for this. Obviously, he did not want to invest the mass into TMD when he very nearly had a donut up. But that decision is immediately going to bring a massive amount of regret, because that donut is going to die to tac missiles. Or very nearly so. 10,000 health on a nearly complete donut, that is not exactly what you want to be seeing. Alright, are you loading up again? You're already loaded, so you could be firing a volley right now. Tactical missile upgrading for Bearman. Have to see what happens with that. 15k HP on the donuts. It does have a fair bit of regen though. 15 per second, so that will be... Oh, okay. Well, that one TMD was able to deflect every single one of those tac missiles, and that is the beauty of Aeon. So he's just going to control K that donut, and instead of waiting for it to regen, he is going to rebuild it anew. Well, that's an interesting philosophy. Recycle your waste, peeps. Recycle all metal objects, even if they are a solid kilometer across. The Aeon are particularly good at this. We've got another donut over here for Grobar, even though they do not have anywhere near anything resembling air control. A donut is an awesome idea, because I guess you can just suicide it into whatever target you want to kill. There's no SAMs over here as of yet, so it is only the ASF that have the potential to kill the lovely donut. Over here, we do have some Rambo comms out already, and it looks like we've hit a slow point. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to do some math. We've got Megaliths on the field. We've got GCs on the field. We've got donuts on the field. We've got Rambo comms on the field. I'm not going to throw the donuts out of the equation. And have you ever wondered what the matchup between Rambo comms and GCs is? I have. And I actually added this up. We're going to go through some numbers, because it is always good to have knowledge, because knowledge is power, right? Right. Anybody else building commanders over here? There are no other quantum gateways. There is a quantum gateway coming. That means they're going to be Aeon comms. Let's throw those into the mix as well, shall we? All right, so we're going to sit here with a beautiful view, and let's go down some numbers. If you are scared of arithmetic, you need to shut your speakers off now and go hide in a dark corner with your club with a single nail driven into it to increase its killing effectiveness as you wait to go out and kill a woolly mammoth. You Neanderthal, you. All right, so the UEF comm, this is the support commander, has a base price of 2100 mass and 16k HP and 300 DPS is what you get for that. When you throw in a gun upgrade and a shield upgrade and another gun upgrade, you get a nuke, which is going to be traveling towards this base over here, where there is very nearly a nuke defense loaded. Oh my, this is going to be close. Oh, whew, you're not stalling. Okay, it's loaded and shot down. Good deal. There's the donut at the north side. All right, so once you add everything together, you end up with a UEF Rambo comm with 48,000 HP, 750 damage per second, and it costs 5,900 mass. There's another mass launch of tac missiles, which is going to get deflected by one tiny little TMD. Because Aeon OP, yo. Oh no, it missed one! Okay, so there's a second line of defenses. It's okay, guys. It's okay. That one missile is not... Oh no. Why? It was not even on his radar. He did not know that there was a donut there, and you had to come down from the mountain to fly in a more direct path, and you passed over an engineer, and that let him know that you had a donut. Now it's just a mass donation. Whoops. Sorry. Yeah, so... that's painful. That's very painful. I'm having a hard time keeping my composure for this cast. Let's build another donut. The first one didn't work, but surely a second one will, right? Right, you just have to believe hard enough. All right, so that means on the UEF commander, you've got a whopping 8.13 health per mass and 0.13 damage per mass. Bet you never thought that you would get numbers like that. So what's that compared to a Galactic Colossus? Well, you know a Galactic Colossus has 9,999 HP because apparently the Aeon does not like a zero. 2,500 DPS for 27,500 mass, and that totals out to, drumroll please, 3.64 HP per mass and 0.09 damage per mass. That is a lot of tac missiles. Oh my. That is a lot of... Oh. Oh, no! No! Sir Cassie bites the dust. Tac launch from all the way across the map, across ASF from one player, across the entire base and tac defense of another player, into a shielded comm, and somehow there is still enough tac missiles in the air to hit an unmoving commander and kill it. How does that even happen? Oh, this is definitely going in the strategic facepalm file, guys. This game, I can't even hold my sarcasm. I was gonna do this cast as a funny thing, and it's just wow. All right, so there's more TMD now. So instead of, okay, you do have a strat bomber. Instead of sending literally one strat bomber around the ridge, so you come down here, you come up like this, and you drop one bomb, and it kills almost all of them, if not all of the tac launchers. One person has died, a donut has died, and all due to a scouted... Oh, no, the strat bombs are going to hit the mountain. And now the bombers are dead. Okay, so that was a bit of a failure of a plan, but at least now everybody has TMD, so nobody is going to die to that horrendous thing again. And that, my friends, is artillery fire, because on a 10-kilometer gap with a choke point, games should obviously be decided by late game eco and T3 heavy artillery, even though the minimum range covers about a quarter of the map. Yeah. T3 Artie for the win. The donut is on the move. We're going to have to see where he goes. Probably for the tac launchers. That donut has got a death wish, because there are enough ASF over here to drop said donut if they should choose to attack. So anti-air moving in. We've got Sam's firing on all the ASF. T3 mobile anti-air. All the ASF coming in. And, well, what do you know? The donut is actually going... Nope. Nope. Not going to escape. Here comes the ASF, stripping away 2/3 of the health in one pass. Circling back around, and down she goes. But that's okay. Another is already half built. So we just... Oh, look. He finished reclaiming that one. Now he's got a whole nother one to reclaim. But the artillery fire is already hitting the base. And that is bad news. Already in a power stall as well. So, whoop, there it went. All right, well, maybe that'll fix his power stall, losing all that air production. So Bobcraft taking a pretty dang heavy hit. ASF getting tangled up in bad positions here. Over anti-air, please withdraw. You're throwing your units away. Why are you doing this to yourselves? Pull back. Oh, wow, he's almost got to skate this up. The donuts are on the move to the south, so this could get a little interesting here. All right, so the entire reasoning for that whole ramble about the commanders was that you can break this down into a percentage. So spending money on commanders like this is going to get you 223% more HP and 144% more damage per mass building Rambo comms rather than T-Force. Boom! Math, biatch. So why does anybody build T4s, you might ask? And this is actually a legitimate piece of advice. Well, the T4s can get a higher concentration of mass in one location, which means that your value is more concentrated, and you're going to be able to decrease your opponent's damage potential because he has a swarm of units that you can pick off one by one, and you have fewer, beefier units. So when you have way more mass invested, it ends up favoring the single large unit slightly as you get more and more, but it takes a long time to get there. So one of the immediate advantages is that it takes 30% less build power to build a GC than its mass equivalent in SACUs. So, oh, you've got to be kidding me. These donuts are actually going to make it into the base. deflecting the more damaged one to fall on the fire base in the middle. That is going to take out a nuke defense and do heavy damage to a Monkey Lord, taking out a whole pile of infrastructure. That donut is going to survive to pull over the base. It's going to crash into the Scathus. Oh no, it's going to damage Dionysius. And he's down. 2 donuts. Killed 2 bases worth of player. Why on earth these donuts did not join the air fight? The ASF did not lunge out sooner. The anti-air was not placed closer. I don't know. We may never know. All right, so the GC takes 30% less build power, which means that with the same amount of build power, you can build way more GCs than you can SACUs. And also, you don't have to pay for a Quantum Gateway, and you're paying for less build power. So it takes longer for this much mass to pay for itself in SACU damage potential than just building some T3 engineers and throwing down Galactic Colossuses. But the damage is already done because there are a pile of Rambo comms, 22 to be exact, on the front line. And at 6k mass versus 28, that is roughly 4.5 commanders per GC. Yeah, this is definitely going to take out a lot of GCs. Now there's some Aeon Rambo comms as well, but those are even worse off than the GCs. They don't have a damage upgrade. They're stuck at 300 DPS. They have the single shields, even taking for granted that you have the double shield upgrade on these, which puts them at the exact same cost as UEF Rambo comms. They may have 145% more HP than the UEF Rambo comms, but the UEF comms have 260% more damage. So they still win. They still win. UEF Rambo comms OP, man. I've been saying this for a long time, and it is incredibly true. You've got a huge health pool to eat through, and if air units do come and start bothering them, they can simply build their own SAMs. Turns out, that is quite a ridiculous amount of combat strength. Gonna chase this GC away. As you can see down here, we've already had 2 GCs complete just in the walking time of these commanders, and there is a 3rd being built. I'm gonna send this one out to the front in order to try and deal some damage. I wish this one would have been in the fight a bit more. This was gonna die with its back turned. And more commanders gonna come down and focus fire this GC. And there goes one to a Strat Bomber. Now, you gotta have your GCs clumped to be able to reduce the damage potential. Otherwise, this one's gonna kill one and strip about half the health off of another. And then he is going to die, and this one has got his own problems to deal with. So I think that this is going to turn into a bad situation. There's another GC and another one building, so you can see how fast these things are coming up. Each one the better of 3 or so Rambo comms. Now the donuts have just been kind of hanging out up here, and I'm not sure. Oh, I did not even see this. Torpedo bombers. The best thing to have on Gap of Rohan. You've got torpedo bombers on your side. How could you possibly lose? Solaces are incredibly overpowered. After all, they cost 2/3 as much as a cruiser, and they can kill a cruiser in one pass. So cruisers better not dare come attack these bases. The donuts could have mitigated a lot of this damage. You should definitely have both of them together hitting the same targets. And you should be eliminating RASCOMs as fast as you possibly can. We've got GCs soaking fire, Quantum Gateway taking some fire, Strat Bombers coming in from the right-hand side, going for the nuke defense. 2 nukes launched. Oh, that'd be bad news. There is only 1 loaded. And there's 3. What? There are 3 nuke launchers over on this side. Too bad that T3 artillery went down, because that totally could have made a difference. We've got, let's see, 1. No. No, they almost had it. 2 and 3. The nuke defense died after it launched its anti-nuke. That one as well. Wow, if the nukes would have been just 10 seconds later, 10 seconds, this entire base would have been obliterated. That ACU would have been dead. So it looks like there is actually an opportunity for these guys to fight back. And there are plenty of strat bombers up on this side to potentially pull off a snipe. We'll just have to see how that goes. The two donuts are layered together. That gives you 6,666.6 damage. Mark of the beast times 2, but it looks like they are going to get separated and not be in their ultimate form any longer. Definitely need to keep both of them together to attack the same GC, but nope, they're going to split up. One of them is going to go after the support commanders, one of them after the GCs. I'm not sure how wise that was, but there goes one of the defending GCs attacking the higher health Galactic Colossus for some unknown reason. There's another coming out of the base and another building. When you've got near infinite supplies of mass due to reclaim, that's about the best thing you can do, is just pump out T4s as quickly as you possibly can. There's another GC back here that is severely damaged, but if he were to take a few steps towards the front, he would be able to lay in his eyeball damage of 2,500, and it would probably do a fair bit of good. Okay, so this one is shooting at that one. He's shooting at him. He is now dead due to the Tsar, and the Tsar is going to move on to the next one. The fearsome fire of T1 point defense adding to the rest. There is definitely not a telemaser happening here, even though there is not a single Cybern player alive. Actually, there was not a single Cybern player on the other team, so I'm not sure why he even built defenses against telemaser in the first place. Alright, so GC is down. The donuts are still alive. These guys could potentially still make something happen. Except for the fact that torp bombers were built. I wish those were strat bombers. If those were strat bombers, these guys would be way better off. But if you do build a unit like that, you don't necessarily need to reclaim it. You can just throw it out in front of your strat bombers, and it could be a meat shield against the SAMs on the other side. So you can still make good on that situation. You're not losing any DPS out of your main mass of strat bombers. Nukes ahoy! Once again, Cornhulios is going to run to the south side, trying desperately to get away from that nuke. Donut falling on these comms, going to kill a couple of SAMs, but they're going to be able to SAM their way out of this situation. Donut running to the north, and nukes keep a-flowing. I am now looking for the ending of this game. You know, when someone is dodging your nukes, you don't nuke where they're at, you nuke where you think they're going to go, because you're guaranteed they're going to move. So you kind of space the ring where it just barely makes enough contact to kill them on the south side, and you nuke to the north, because that's the direction that they're probably going to run. GC taking Ravager fire there from the center. So many support commanders. Good lord. They're building drones. They're building point defense. They're building SAMs. This is going to be a tough nut to crack here in the middle. Of course, they might just Ravager creep all the way into the base. Nope. Going to build an Omni right there. And I guess that position is now considered secure. Nukes ahoy once again. Nuking exactly where the ACU is. Ooh, bad strategy. There are two donuts with a third on the way, but now Cornhulios has nothing to his name, so he is not going to really be able to do anything much. He's got two engineers in his commander and a handful of mass extractors out here. No power, but he does have resource allocation on his ACU, so he could potentially build another GC, but there's nothing major happening there. GC going down to a flurry of strat bomber fire. Holy kashmoles. But there are SAMs over here that are going to do some terrifyingly bad damage to that group. There's several damage now, and that is going to reduce the integrity of the group. So once they start coming in for an attack run, they're going to die more quickly. The pings are out. Strat bombers are going to get intercepted, and not a single bomb was dropped that day. Oh, that's depressing. That is very depressing to see. 3 fat boys closing in. 4 fat boys closing in on the base. The nuke is dead. I think we can call that GG. When those strat bombers died, that was the last hope that these guys had if Bombcraft had been a little bit slower on that snipe prevention. That was enough bombers, I think, to kill Athena's cap in one pass. And if red had been out of the game, blue had a bunch of air and Bombcraft had a bunch of donuts, but I don't think that necessarily would have meant an immediate end to the game. Well, there's your strategic facepalm, folks. Sometimes you want to see some lower ranked play. There is still a lot to be learned. There were some good plays by these guys. There were some freaking awful plays that I hope I never see again in my entire life. But if you were in this game and you're seeing this cast, know that I love each and every one of you and I only want the best for you. So me making fun of your actions is just a prod. Try to get you to move in the right direction and not do terrible things like play Gap of Rohan. Alrighty guys, that is going to be it for me for today. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.